And then what about next week?
All right, good to go? Awesome. All right, so welcome to today's Marketing Mindshare. This is the last one of the year since we're taking off for December. For those of you who are new, our mission here is to inspire excellence in communication and marketing, encourage collaboration between businesses, organizations, and individuals. And the way we're doing that is with this, building a community of success-minded marketers that through education collaboration, we are expanding the capacity of all members to achieve great things for our local area. So just a couple announcements. We do still have all of the virtual networking online. So if you want, I know people are probably still experiencing Zoom fatigue. So if this doesn't work for you, no worries, but we do still have that Facebook group that we'd love to get more engagement in. And we're working as a committee to figure out how to increase engagement there. But we'd love to keep connecting over Facebook group or one-on-one. Feel free to reach out to anyone who you want to and add your contact info to the spreadsheet. The links to the Facebook group and the spreadsheet will be sent out in a follow-up email. And then finally, we are still looking for panelists for the discussion in January about building out your marketing department. So we're looking for a variety of people from all sorts of different businesses and business backgrounds, marketing backgrounds. We're looking for something along the lines of a small business marketing manager who does everything, or a marketing director who maybe has one or two people in-house, and then also an organization who primarily outsources to vendors, or even has one or two people in-house but outsources specializations and specialty things to vendors. We're also, so if you want to join that panel, please send me an email. And it'd probably also be a good idea to CC Ashley because I'm headed out on maternity leave soon. And then the other two presentations or topics that we'd like to be scheduling coming up here is dealing with managing marketing outcomes and dashboarding, diving really deep into data analytics, and then also marketing automation. So if you either are an expert or have really in-depth knowledge and experience you'd like to share with everyone, or if you know someone who'd be a really good presenter, please let me know and let Ashley know again, so we can see if we can get you on the schedule or get them on the schedule. So I think that's it for announcements. We will, as normal, be sending out the feedback form where you can also let me know if you'd like to present through the feedback form, as well as any other tips or comments that you have for improvement. So with that, Matt, do you want to introduce our presenter today?
Sure. Well, hi guys. My name is Matt Swain. I'm the Public Relations Manager for Handley Regional Library System, and I also get the opportunity to be on the program committee for the Marketing Mindshare. We do have a workshop today on reference solutions, but I want to give a kind of a quick background on why the library system has this. In addition to books and ebooks and online streaming of music and movies and things like that, we actually have a whole digital library full of tools. Anything from career resources to language learning. We have job search assistant and certification, and tools like Reference Solutions, which is actually formally known as Reference USA. So if you've actually attended any other workshops through the chamber, or maybe you are a current user of the product, it recently had a name change from Reference USA to Reference Solutions. And this tool helps with B2B and B2C marketing, which is what Bill is going to talk a little bit more about. The library has used this tool to look at community data. It's got a lot of great demographics. It has all sorts of different information that you can use both in sales and marketing and just any type of research there. And all the tools that we mention here, it's actually free with your library card. So in the chat, I will put a link to get a library card if you don't have a library card, so you can use your card to log in to use the tool. Or if you need to renew your library card, perhaps you haven't used it in a while, we can help with that too. So you can use the link that I'll post, and also feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my information there as well. So I'm going to turn this over to Bill Carlson. Bill Carlson is our vendor from Reference Solutions, and he's going to tell us all about this product, how to use it, and answer all the questions that we have around this.
Thanks, Matt. And thank you everyone for joining us. You should be seeing my screen here momentarily. Matt, is this displaying for you okay?
Yes.
Excellent. For some reason, it wasn't giving me the same information it normally does, so I was concerned it wasn't linking properly. My name is Bill Carlson. I am with Reference Solutions, as Matt mentioned, formerly Reference USA. I'll jump right into the database, and I did bring up the library's website. When we conclude, I'll show you how you can go to the library to get access to our database. You'll know that you're logged in as soon as you see the Handley Regional Library Systems logo here. We do offer additional webinars, so feel free to check out any of our webinars. If a training guide would be advantageous for you, know that you can get training materials here. And there are some great guides here that, depending on, like if you wanted to learn more about using that US business database module, you could certainly get that in and of itself, or you can learn about all the business database modules that we have available to you. So it just depends on what your needs might be. That information is there. I also like to point out, certainly you can always reach out to us. We're open, our hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We do respond to emails. We also have our 800 number listed here, so you can always feel free to reach out to us. And I also want to point out, you do have the ability to download an app if that would be something you'd be interested in using. Once you've done so, you would put in your zip code. It'll present the area's libraries. You would click on the one that you belong to, and then be able to put in your card number and be able to get access to the database that way. There are two modules available now in the app, and that's the US Business module and the US Consumer Lifestyles. We also give you the ability to create a personalized account. So once you've registered, you can log in and you can save any searches that you may do from any of these modules and come back to them at whatever point in time you deem necessary. In fact, each of these modules have a slightly different update schedule. Our US Business Database module, that information is being updated every Thursday into Friday morning. So our folks that make the verification phone calls are pushing that information out there about changes to business records. Maybe we've learned about a new business opening, and so they've captured that information, and that is being pushed out every Thursday into Friday. And by the way, if your business isn't listed and you would like to explore having your business listed in the database, you can go to www, and we'll put this also in the chat, www.expressupdate.com, and you can claim your business much like you would do with Google, and then what will happen is you'll get an immediate response back from us with an 800 number to call in and verify your business on the spot. So businesses can add themselves to the US Business Database if we haven't caught you, maybe through the phone books that we still get sent to us digitally these days. So know that that's available to you as well. The US Historical technically gets updated at the end of every month, but then we're pushing out all of those updates at the beginning of the year. Canadian Business, that's monthly. Jobs and internships is nightly. New business filings through the Secretary of State's office. This is weekly. Our US Healthcare, Standard White Pages, Consumer Lifestyles, and the Canadian white pages are all updated monthly. And our new movers and new homeowners, we're getting this information through our relationship with the USPS National Change of Address. So we're fully licensed to bump our database up against this, and that's being updated weekly. And we house that information in there for 1 year. So let me go ahead and do this. I'll launch the US Business database, but really it doesn't matter which one you go into. You'll always come into the quick search page first, no matter which module. In this case, it gives you the ability to look up a company, do an executive first name, last name search. Maybe there was an executive that you had worked with or had a relationship with at a particular business and they've moved on. You're not certain where they've gone. You could certainly try that executive first name, last name search. It'd be great if you knew that city and state that they were in. Could look at all businesses in any given city or state, or even do a reverse phone number lookup. So it just depends on how you would like to see that information. Most of the time, people want to go right to the advanced search. And by the way, additional filters goes to the same place. So a lot of times we know that customers are making, maybe they're making these lists because they intend on calling these businesses to talk to them about their products or services that they would like to offer them. Perhaps they want to do mailers. So we do give you the ability to download this information so that you could put together mailing labels and send those other businesses some information. Or as Matt said, maybe you want to simply research some industries. You can do all of that. So with the company name that you see here versus what we saw in quick search, this allows you to put in company names. And you could put in multiples, obviously, here. So if I wanted IBM, for example, I could add that to my list. If I wanted another company here, maybe I want Starbucks. I would love some Starbucks this morning. I could add that. You can keep adding as many businesses by name as you'd like, and then you just select the geography that you want to see these businesses in, and we'll produce that list for you. Otherwise, we will always give you company name. We will always give you this executive information where we can get that in our phone calls. So if by chance you needed to get records with owners present, you could certainly do that and just drive in those records and forego all those other ones that might only have a manager or some other executive title. But if ownership were important to you and speaking to those owners, we would have that available for you. Or if you wanted to do owners or managers, you could certainly do that and you'd get one or the other. In some cases, maybe both. So know that you can get that, but we'll always produce this information in every record. We give you the ability to do just a simple keyword search, and it's always by industry type, like it mentions here with restaurants. So you have that ability to do that. Well, as it relates to geography, we give you several different options. Now, you don't want to combine city with zip code. You have to determine which of these two is most important. Do you want to see all businesses in the city, or do you want to only see them maybe in one or two zip codes? You make the determination and then apply the appropriate filter at that point in time. Oh, host has spotlighted your video. Excellent. Thank you, host. Billy, was that you? Were you spotlighting it? So know that you can select any of these geographies to drive in those businesses by area. We'll always give you this phone information. Maybe you need to see phones with a toll-free number. You could get that. Size of business. This is an important question for us. We're asking businesses, how many employees do you have? About 72% of those businesses will give us an exact number. Those that don't, we look at their peers in the area and we apply a range. So if you see a single number, we got that in our phone call. If you see a range, that was applied because we didn't get it in our phone call. And conversely, we don't ask businesses how much they're making. We know that that would end in an abrupt ending to any phone call with any business. So we actually have a team that produces an algorithm that then gives you that number for that sales volume. And we're using information that we acquire in that phone call, number of employees, type of business they're in, how long they've been in business, location of that business, because there are going to be different factors involved with the location. Everything from leasing to what some of the costs that are going to be associated with power, etc. So we take all of that into account, and then we get some information through the Bureau of Labor and Statistics to finalize that algorithm that then produces that sales number. So it's true for the sales number, and it's also true with the business expenditures. This is also modeled information. Now, if it's a publicly traded company, of course, the information we provide for sales volume is what comes from their 10K report. We'll always give you this ownership information, certainly this financial data where it's appropriate. On nonprofits, of course, we're not going to have any of this information. Special selects. If you wanted to learn about perhaps newer businesses in your community, I would use years in the database, and then you could just say, you know what, I'd like to see the last 3 years worth of businesses that have started up in my community. You could get it broken down in that fashion. So know that that's available. And when it mentions professionals, all or one, we added this particular element because we were told by libraries that in some cases when people were doing a search in a general geographical area, there were doctors and dentists offices, attorneys offices, CPA offices that were coming up in those searches, and they didn't want to necessarily reach out to every professional in that office, just rather one. So we do give you the ability, it'll always default to all, but we do give you the ability to shorten that list. And if you're making a mailing, if you're perhaps going to do a mailing, it's obviously going to help you control some of that spend factor with your mailing. So know that you can do that. And then we give you a variety of ways to omit information. One of the specifics that sometimes people want to be able to omit, but they don't want kiosks, right? So if you didn't want ATMs to show up in your search, you can define that, and then we'll give you the ability. There's the SIC code. If you're not familiar with that, that's the standard industrial classification code. All of our business information is categorized by such. So you could add that to your selected field down here. And then whenever you produce your results, automated tellers will never show up in that search. So no, you could omit virtually anything using this omission section, including previously saved searches. So if you had a personalized account and had saved some searches, you could even omit the new information that you're going to get from those previously saved searches. I'm going to do a simple search here, and we're just going to look for restaurants. I want some numbers, and I learned the last time that I did this that I need to do this search by using your counties. So I'm going to search for all restaurants. There's my SIC code for all restaurants. So if I had a product that I wanted to perhaps sell to or market to these restaurants, I can get that list, and I'll just do several counties here so I get enough of the numbers I want to show you with some of the various tools that are available. Come down here to not the Virgin Islands. I'm ready to go there as soon as a flight would leave for there, though. So I'll do Clark, and I'll do Frederick. That's right. Oops, no, Frederick. And Winchester. Update my count. So what the system is going to do is tell me how many records that I'm about to see. And I wanted to show you that because right now I'm searching all SIC codes. I'm only looking at verified records. We do have records that are unverified. Maybe they were verified at one point in time, and then when we went to do our annual phone call with them, we weren't able to reach them. We will try for 2 consecutive years to keep a record verified. If after that we can't reach them, we move them into this unverified status. Or if we've learned in the meanwhile that they've actually closed, of course, we'll move them here. So I'm looking at all SIC codes, but watch what happens to my number if I change it to only primary. It's going to drop down to 250. So it got rid of businesses that have restaurants in them, but their primary line of business isn't that of a restaurant. So, for example, like bowling alleys, think about every bowling alley you've ever been in. They have a little restaurant in there. So if you needed to get that granular, you can get there. But I want to go back. I need that number of 305 to show you some of these examples. So I'm going to view those results, and I can always toggle back. If I needed to get back, if I forgot to perhaps add an element, I could certainly go back here and grab another filter or two or whatever it is that I need, and then view my results. So no, you can get back very easily. I have this feature called charts, and I like to use this. What this will do is it will break down, in this case, the top 7 cities across those counties to give you that information and how many records apply to each of those. So it gives you that breakdown. Notice I could change it up to zip codes. I could also look at sales volumes. I could look at employment size. I do give you a full report down here of all of those communities and the number of records that are applied to each of those. So if I wanted to get to just this group in Middletown, I could click on that 7 and get to those 7 records. But in this case, I want to switch it up to, for example, employment size. So now it gives us a look at, based on this industry, 42, almost 42.5% of the restaurants across those 3 counties employ 5 to 9 employees, followed by 20 to 49, 10 to 19, and 1 to 4 down here at 11.5%. So you get a sense of the size of that business using either number of employees or sales volumes. All of this information can be either printed off or it can be made part of a PowerPoint presentation. I know that lenders, and we're looking at a very small universe, right? I could be looking at restaurants across the entire state if I wanted to. I know that lenders love to see this kind of insight because it helps them understand what your approach might be to this particular type of industry or business that you're going to be working with. So know that that's available. I have another tool that I know lenders are really like, and that's our heat map. It's a density map. And what it will do is it will produce, based on those areas, where you have the most of your restaurants. So where these hot spots are at, in red, there are a lot of restaurants there. Where it's more yellow, less, of course, green, even less. And of course, no color, no restaurants. Then it will give you this top tally by zip code. So the 601 versus the 603, the 655, etc. So you've got that as well. And I can hyperlink to these groups. So if I needed to do that, I could do that. So know that both of those tools, and we're just looking at location, we could be looking at sales volumes or numbers of employees from this respect as well. You can always get to that information, and you can use these tools in a lot of our modules. So I'm looking at the heat map as it relates to restaurants, but if I were in my consumer lifestyles and I were looking at people that enjoyed travel, for example, maybe I have a travel business. I could use that heat map to see where all those folks are located. Maybe I'm going to start some kind of initiative in that area. So we always give you that information. And I do want to point out on this blue bar, if you come across from left to right, you see we have this corporate tree structure out here. It always defaults to that. We can change this up to a number of other titles. If I wanted to get a sense of the titles for the people that are listed there, I could select that and it'll give me that information instead. I do like to point out the use of this corporate tree information. It can be awfully valuable. For example, let's look at this Arby's. The up arrow will take me to just the subsidiary, or if there weren't a subsidiary, it would take me to the ultimate parent. In any case, it only produces one record. This will show me their entire organizational structure. So I can click on that and bingo, I'm already now I understand who actually owns Inspire Brands and ultimately Arby's. It's this private equity firm out of Atlanta, Georgia. And it notes here they have 38 subsidiaries, some 20, almost 24,000 branches. There's a legend that runs across here. So if I needed to know about that PV, I can quickly identify that that's for a private company. So know that we give you that kind of review of that particular business structure. Now, I would say, and I had this come up the other day in a class that I was doing, if this parent company is outside of the United States, then we stop at the subsidiary that's in the US. We don't go overseas or even as far north as Canada to show you that parent company. It stops at the US border. So if in fact you are searching and you know that they're actually maybe owned by another company that's outside of the United States, that's why it stopped. So I give you that information. I also can give you these other subsidiaries. So you can either scroll down to get to them, or you can close this subsidiary and see all the others. So if I were intending on selling something to Arby's, I might want to learn about some of these other companies that Arby's that's under that same umbrella, like Hardee's, for example. In fact, there's new news that's just come out here within the last couple, 2-3 weeks, that Inspire Brands is now also going to be managing Dunkin' Donuts. So I'm envisioning at some point in time learning about a great new product that includes it'll be like a curly fry donut, I think is what I heard. Doesn't that sound great? Billy's just like, yes, I want that as soon as it comes out. So know you can get to any of this information. If you wanted to get into the Sonic information, you could click on that subsidiary and get to those additional records for all of those branches. So it just depends. Do your homework, use this tool like it's meant to be used, and you can always get support from the library or by contacting us directly if you needed assistance. I'm going to open up this Arby's record. This is a great example of what you're going to see with any record, right? So you've got location information first. That's always going to be there, position for you so you can quickly see where that business is located. We did capture some information in terms of the social links they use and their website. No job listings with this one. We'll have the industry profile in third position here. There's that SIC code. That's their primary SIC code. If you were going to reverse engineer a search, maybe there's a really good company that you work with, but you're not certain what their primary line of business might be. You could look up that record, and whatever their primary SIC code is, you could jot that down, just forget the dash. And then where I put in the term restaurants in the keyword search, you could just type in this number, hit search, and it will come up with the definition for you of that primary SIC code. And then you could find more businesses like that really good one that you currently work with. So know you can use those codes. There, in this case, we've got this business profile for this particular company. We're not going to have a business profile on every single record, but wherever that information is presented, might want to review that, and you might gain some insights that you're going to use in a sales call with them.
Hey, Bill, just a quick
Yeah.
question. Where does that profile come from?
So
Who creates that?
you really want that donut. I'm excited.
I get street directions to that.
So we're getting that from Arby's. Yeah, through Inspire Brands. Yes. Yep. Exactly. A lot of times they'll post this on their websites, and so we'll go out and grab that information. But in some of these cases, like the bigger chains like Arby's, the Home Depots, the Lowe's, they all self-report to us because they want their information in the database. So this may have been given to us by them. Good question. Of course, we work with Google, so we have Google Maps embedded in there as well. Notice you can print this off, you can use the satellite, the toggle view, just depends on what you want to be able to use. That's available. Then we have the business demographics. And I mentioned earlier about that part of the phone call that we make where we ask for the number of employees. So we captured this in September about this particular business. Now, one of the questions we don't ask is how many of these are full-time versus part-time employees. We just want to know their total. And if it were a company that isn't publicly traded like this one isn't, that number goes into the algorithm that produces this sales volume number. Of course, we've got that parent company information. I could get to that record if I wanted to. You'll always see this last updated date. And by the way, let's say that, for example, that you knew Jessica. And that you were talking to her one day and she happened to mention that they had 25 employees. You could actually tell us about that so that we could call and get that verified. And you simply do it right through this data feedback button. You can select that. There is a free form spot here. So if there were, if what you wanted to tell us about wasn't listed on this left-hand column, feel free to send us a note and then we'll reach out to this company to verify the information that you've provided us. So if it were number of employees, you can just put a check mark there, wipe out that 20, maybe this would be 25. You can send that through in an email to us. We'll send you back a response immediately that we received your query, and we'll send you back within 7 to 10 business days the completion of that call that we made, so that you have a sense of that update. And if they say no, we have 23, then of course we're going to update the record with the 23. So I've got that management directory, company news. Again, we won't have company news on every single business. You know, Bob's Garage down the street probably isn't going to have anything with company news. But in this case, this was last updated on the 15th at 11:02 a.m. So it gets updated on the fly. There could be several more updates today. Just depends. And you can scroll down through here and get to older articles. So if you wanted to continue to review that information to find out some information about them, there's that Inspire Brands picks up Duncan. That's a heck of a deal. Look at how many donuts they got. Wow. So know you can get to that kind of insight. Publicly, if it were publicly traded, we'd have that stock data there. We have some business expenditures. Again, that's that modeled information. A little bit of historical information dating back to 2004 on this particular record. And you can open up any of these years. If you wanted 09, just click on the name and it will open up that 09 record. There's the slide that I also have available that indicates I'm on 9. Notice we hyperlinked you right to the U.S. historical businesses module. So you've left the U.S. business and now you're in historical looking at this information. And you can move this around if you wanted to perhaps get a little closer and go to 11 or 13 in this case. You could certainly do that. Just depends on what you need to be able to do. You can also always get back to your record. There it is. And then we have a few more elements here. UCC filing. So if they have taken out a loan, which they haven't, they would have put up something as collateral and there would have been a UCC code captured with that. That's not there because they haven't done it. Then we have nearby businesses because we have the latitude and longitude embedded in the background. I know a lot of sales guys and gals that will use this because if they're doing some business with or attempting to do some business with Arby's, they might want to look and see if there are any other restaurant chains real close by that they might also want to reach out to. And then, of course, competitors report will have that on each and every record. Of course, not with nonprofits, but all the others will have that. And I can get into these records. If I wanted to go into this Burger King and for whatever reason and take a look at that record, I could get to that information. Just depends on what you need to be able to do. And you can always go back to your original record. So this is how every single record is set up in the database. And we do give you that corporate structure inside the record as well. So you don't necessarily have to launch that externally to the record. Any questions on the business information that I've showed you to this point? Okay, let me do this. I'm going to go back to my results. I can also download this information. So if that were important to me, maybe I'm going to put it in a CRM, or maybe I'm just going to use this through Excel and have this as a call sheet for these businesses that I intend to reach out to. It notes right down here in red lettering how many prints and downloads you can do, and it's really at a time. It says per search, but it's at a time. So I can do 250. That's 10 pages because there are 25 records per page here. So if I wanted all of these, simply come up to this empty box on this blue bar next to company name, put a check mark in there. It'll grab all 25 records on that page. And then it's as simple as just coming to this toggle and going to page 2, repeating that step, page 3, repeating that step. You get the idea. It's 10 times. I'm going to stop here. We'll pretend that that's my 10th page. Then it's a matter of simply selecting this download option. If in fact you're going to make mailing labels, definitely leave it in comma delimited. And if you only need the name of the business, their physical address and phone number, know that we'll give you additional elements like who that owner or manager is, what their title is, name, number of employees, sales volume, type of business, etc. All of that is going to be available to you. And if you had a lot of records that you were going to download, I would suggest opening up your own version of Excel and doing a copy and paste from my universe, which you can't add anything to my Excel document. It is a static document. So if you would like to keep just one Excel document with all of your records on it, you can simply come up here, copy and paste this onto your own, minimize yours, close mine. It brings you right back here. Then you just select the word back. It brings you back to that page that you were last on. Remember, we're pretending this was page 10. Now I've got to get rid of all these check marks. Otherwise, I produce the same records over and over again. Easiest way to do that is revise search. Doesn't forget how you built your search. You view your results. It brings you back to page 1. It's taken out all those check marks. And then you just simply come up here and type in 11 and enter, and you're ready to go with your next group of records. In this case, it'd be another 5 pages because I'd need to get that 5th page with 5 records on it. So you can download as many of these as you need to for whatever your needs might be. And I do want to point out, it does mention here 14 with email addresses, more info. Well, what we're instructing you to do is if you are interested in purchasing those, you can certainly reach out to us here and tell us what elements you're most interested in. Is it restaurants in those 3 counties? Do you consider number of employees? Do you consider sales volume? Any other features that need to be applied? And then we'll produce a count for you and get you a total back. We actually have access to more than 14. It's about generally, because we're going through another broker, it's generally about 65% coverage. With restaurants, it's probably a little higher than that. But know that we can do that. Or if you wanted to do some mining of data yourself, let's say that restaurants were important to you and you did want to do a little email campaign to restaurants, I would suggest coming down here to special selections, do web address. What does that do to my total? So now I have 212. So I could go into those records and then I could open up that website to see if I could find an email address that I might be able to mail to. So know that that's available to you as well if you wanted to take that kind of time to be able to do that. Maybe you just plan on doing a very small little test run and you don't want to spend any money on the email addresses. That's a great way to get to them. So know that you have all of this at your disposal for business needs. I do want to take just another couple of moments to show you another module. Any questions regarding the US Business Database? Okay, let me go ahead and select Reference Solutions. That's my home key. It brings me right back here. I want to show you this consumer lifestyles information. So if your business is about B2C, this is a great audience. By the way, so are the new movers and new homeowners. This can be some tremendous information for you. So with the consumer lifestyles, we're getting this from a variety of different sources. Of course, we're not call verifying consumer information. We're getting information from surveys, from magazines that people are having sent to their home, warranty cards that they've perhaps filled out and submitted, vehicle VIN numbers when people go to have their vehicle serviced through that new car dealer as part of their package with the purchase of that vehicle. Membership programs. I was identified as a dog lover in the database when I just signed up for a PALS membership through Petco. So I'll go right to advanced search. That's where most people are spending their time. And I'm going to, it always defaults to all per household. I want to only see one record per address, right? I don't want to see multiple addresses. And then what I can do is I can simply go into whatever geography. Let's use the map-based search tool for this one. By the way, this tool is also available in the business universe. And I'll say, I want those dog lovers. We'll do dogs and cats. We'll leave out the horses and pets here. And I want to look at certain incomes. Had a vet that I was helping use the database, and this is exactly what she wanted to be able to do, is look at certain income ranges that she was going to do some marketing to. So I've got those three selected. I am going to open up my map. And Billy, what's a zip code there that I could use?
22601.
22601. Excellent. I can put in an address in this Zoom 2 field. I could put in city and state, put in county and state. Just depends on what you want to do. I'll use this zip code. It'll zoom right into that zip code centroid. And these are the tools that I have available to me. So I could draw my own shape. I could use a true radius. I even have some predetermined boundaries. So with drawing a shape, it's kind of like Etch-a-Sketch, if you remember that game. You can start it wherever you want to begin it, right? I'll go over here to Jordan Springs and I'll click once to begin it. I'll go up to Clearbrook here and come across and come down this way. Maybe I'll go to Kernstown, and that's the shape I want. I can double click to finish it, and then it will calculate how many I have in that particular shape. So know you can use this shape with most of our modules. If that's all I needed, I can say done. And as you can see, well, or maybe not, I'm ready to give you those. You could just click on view results and it would give you those 318. I also want to show you on the, for example, radius. If you want to use that, it's a little different. You would just simply click and hold it and then drag it in whatever direction you want to go. And you can see it's calculating by miles how far out I've gone. So I'm just at 3 miles right there. If that were the radius I wanted to look at, then I can release that. And again, it will calculate how many of those records I have in that shape. I can also use these predetermined boundaries. So let's overlay the zip codes. It always starts off as big as the state. I'm going to back out just a little bit here. So I could click in this zip code. I've got 164 in that one. Maybe I want to click in this one as well. I've got 450 in that one. If that's all I needed, I can say done and then view those results. In fact, I'll do that. So there are my results. And now, just like with our new movers and new homeowners, whenever you pull up a consumer database, it will always give you this information about some of these phone numbers may be on the do not call list and should not be used for solicitation. And I'll add to that, unless you have the appropriate cleansing done or hygiene work done on this list, you could send the do not call registry will do a certain number of area codes for free, and then they start charging. So if you would like to send a list to the do not call registry, they will certainly run that through the current list and send you back a clean list of the business of the people that you could in fact call. So know you're responsible for all of that compliance. We give you the entire kitchen sink. You clean it up as you need to. So let's open this record. So I've got this address level data here. We haven't seen enough information one way or the other to predict if she's single or married. Been in this home for about 19 years. There's some neighborhood information through the Census Bureau that we then make some adjustments to. And then there are the lifestyle indicators. So the reason her record came in was because of cats. She doesn't have dogs. So the reason her record came in was because of cats. And I want to show you this real quick. I'll just go back. Of course, I can download this information just like we did on the business database. I can chart it. I can put it on the heat map. I'm going to revise my search just a little bit, because I do want to point out to you, it does note here that there's a scoring system behind the scenes of 0 through 9. We will only show you records of people who score a 6 or higher. So know that you can certainly, you'll see those records of people who are active in their categories. I fell out of this as a dog lover, unfortunately, because my dog is gone now, but it will only, and it took about probably 2 to 3 months for me to fall out, because all of a sudden I was buying all the time, and then all of a sudden I just fell off the cliff and no more purchasing when he was gone. So it does update like that. Any questions on the consumer information?
Hey, Bill,
Yes.
a few more minutes and then
Yes.
they want to apply this to the marketing side of it. So
Okay.
3 more minutes.
Very good. Let's do this. I'm going to show you one quick search using the new movers, new homeowners. I'll go right to advanced search. A lot of those tools like the map-based search tool, all of that's available here. I'm going to say move distance and time frame. I'll say show me people who've moved from at least 75 miles away up to, we'll say, 2,500 miles away. And it always defaults to the last 6 weeks or months. It could be since last week or within the last year. Let's do the last 3 months. And we'll just, of the 3 counties, which one is bigger? Frederick, Clark, or Winchester?
Frederick.
What is it?
Frederick County.
Okay, so we'll do this one. There it is. And I have a total of people that have moved from at least 75 miles away up to 2,500 miles away in the last 3 months of 218. So you could open up these records, and again, you get that same message, but notice, and we'll just open this first one. So this person moved from just 76 miles away, but it will always tell you how far they've moved from, so that you can get a sense of those people that are, maybe you don't want people that have moved across town because they may know about your business, but these people that are moving from this far away wouldn't probably know anything about your business. It does give you some of that estimated home income and home value, along with estimated age. So maybe I own a business, maybe I own a fitness facility, and I've been working with a lot of folks in certain age ranges. I could select those estimated age ranges and then be able to put together a mailer that I would send out to them to let them know about my services at the gym. Any questions? Otherwise, it's time for me to end for now. And you can always reach out to us, certainly, if you would need some assistance. In fact, I'll put my email address in here if you would like to reach out. Thank you for your time today.
Bill, this is like the 5th or 6th time I've seen your presentation, and I learned something every time. It's amazing.
And tell me, what did you learn new today, other than the Dunkin' Donut
The curly donuts.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Billy's
they're
moves,
hammering
yeah.
in my house. The last part about well, the details and the information on like Arby's and all their information and updates. I hadn't seen that before.
Oh, sure.
And then the one you just did, your last example, that was showing how many people move from
Yes.
75 miles away. That's
That's
amazing.
just great insight for any business to have. I don't care if you've got a restaurant, a gym, a boutique of some sort. It's just great information to have.
To reach out to somebody new in the neighborhood is priceless.
Yep.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bill, for that
You bet.
presentation. For everyone, I know I'm going to have to go back and watch this. So there's a reason why we're recording it. We'll be sending a link out with the recording at the end of the meeting with the wrap up email. But when we don't really have time to do our normal breakouts. So I just want to open up the floor to everyone. With this type of information, either from Reference Solutions or from other databases like it, how has this information been useful for you if you've applied it in the past? How have you applied it in both your marketing and your sales efforts? Matt, I know you said you've used this information in the past, right?
Yeah, we've looked at it a couple different ways. We've looked at it to see, like kind of general population. We've started to kind of look closer at some of the like charity and donation model of it, because that certainly would help with our annual giving and ongoing fundraising and things like that. And then I also have used not just this product, but other data in the past for like direct mail and things like that, if we do like a postcard or something like that out to folks.
Yeah, with this information, especially, so this was my first time sitting in on one of these, with getting that really in-depth customer data. I'm sure, I mean, that's super valuable. If you buy those sorts of lists, you're talking like thousands of dollars typically, and this information is totally free for us. So you're able to get those targeted lists much easier and cheaper than otherwise.
Yeah, you only need a library card, and oh wait, that's free too.
Exactly. Yay for Handley Library. Is there anyone else? Have you used any of this information, either like sales prospecting or your marketing efforts, direct mail campaigns, anything like that?
I know of a company that is using this from a previous session we did. They're now using it to pull information lists for mailers.
Nice.
And they're able to target by zip code, by client, by you name it. And then there's a company that's actually starting a postcard mailing company, a part of their division anyway, and they're using this to pull their list to pinpoint what clients want.
Oh,
Yeah, so where my mind immediately jumped to is our company's personally pivoting to an entirely new industry. And we have an initial list, but in order to fill up our pipeline for our sales efforts, we need to prospect a whole lot more. And this, I mean, we're talking about prospecting all over the country, which we have somewhat of a network across LinkedIn, but it's going to be in a lot of cold outreach. And I can easily see like this information from Reference USA is going to help us get like really niche down into that industry and figure out our ideal clients and help us pull the right targets for that prospecting efforts. Anyone else have any insights to add? Think ways that you found this information to be helpful, or things that you want to dive in deeper in with your own marketing sales efforts? Or have any wrap-up questions for Bill?
And I did want to point how you can get to our database. So I have the library up here. So you can go to the hanleyregional.org. And when you come in, come under the research and learn, and then you can come right over here to business and investments. Click there, and then it will present you with this page, and you simply scroll down a little ways to get to reference solutions and just click here. It'll ask you to accept our terms and conditions, and then when you hit continue, you'll put in your library card number and you're in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bill. All right. Well, if anyone else doesn't have any, or no one else has any last wrap-up thoughts, I think we're done for the morning. Thank you again so much, Bill, for this presentation. It was super helpful. And if you have any questions, Bill, can you send or put your email address in the chat so we can reach out to you if you have questions?
You know,
And
for some reason, the chat is only allowing me to do it privately. It won't
that's weird.
allow me to change that to public.
If you set it to Ashley, then if you can message Ashley, then she can include that in the wrap-up email.
Okay. Let me.
And Matt, we can contact the library if we have any questions too, right?
Yep. You can contact your local library. Feel free to contact me. And then I'll send out a kind of a follow-up email to the attendees to this with some helpful links. And we've got some other tutorials on it as well.
Awesome. Yeah. If you could just send that to Ashley too, so we only have one email to go after or to
Yep.
keep an eye out for. That'd be awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a Happy New Year, because we won't be seeing everyone until January.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
All right. Thank you.
Goodbye.